going on, everybody? This is Kristen Robinson. If you're looking at the video, I put my nickname Chris in quotation marks for whatever odd reason. I could tell y'all sucked at Simon Says growing up because y'all never said my name right. Anyway, welcome to the show, fans. We're doing a complete reboot. We want to bring y'all something new, something exciting, something fun, where we my bad, I forgot to cut my Facebook off. Where we are here discussing music, but it's going to be led by you guys in really fun one-on-one battle formats where you pick a artist and you pick specific songs that fit within categories we set. We're going to see who wins.
Well, it's not going to be a battle, but the battle. So, okay. The episodic format of the show is bringing you guys that information. You will be in charge of it too, in terms of like the discussion or whatever, but like it's a platform, because I know some of you guys that have paid attention to Fanz before have complained a lot about different things and elements.
Did you say a lot?
A lot. So
nobody do right.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Like I said, this is a learning curve in a lot of ways, and because of those complaints, we've been able to formulate a way to be able to bring you guys something that's going to be fun and engaging for you, and also have something for you in between battles. Fanz is not just a battle show anymore. It's a spot for Chris to be able to get his music, how you want to put it,
I don't even
like
know.
your like music knowledge out there, for different things, right? So
I just started listening to music last week, and I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. So
yeah. Well, see, and anybody that wants to come on, because I know there's different questions about like new school hip hop and or if you want to call it hip hop.
All right.
Like new school music, right? There's I know I've heard an argument excuse me, recently about how some of the newer artists don't live up to the old artists, and there are fans that believe that some of the newer guys are significantly better than older guys. This is a spot for you to come on and have that conversation, right? So if you want to be able to come on and break down different elements of your favorite artists, so anybody that's like fan of like Young Thug, or his whole situation, but his music is still out here. His music's still free. But anyone that's a fan of him, or let's see, what, I hate to say it, throw this guy out there too, but Gunna or whoever is newer, that older hip hop heads like us may not listen to their music, right? I definitely don't. So if you could come onto the show and break down what elements make you believe an argument like that, this is your time to do it. There's so many other music arguments that people have, but we also, with this show, if you guys seen some of the promo clips, we also talk, like, we're also going to have battles of like sports battles. So the proverbial like LeBron versus Michael Jordan battle, right? So you can battle highlights on the show, right? But in between battles, if you want to come on here and have a sports conversation about said athlete or argument or whatever, this is your chance to. So this is an opportunity for you guys to come on, teach old heads something if you want, or let us learn you something. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. This is supposed to be a fun and engaging platform for fans. This is led by fans. So if you want you want to come on here, you want to discuss something, just hit us up. Let us know what you guys wanted to discuss. we'll try to get that scheduled out for you guys. Come on and have that conversation. So it's definitely going to be a newer way. This is not when we started Fans Off. Yeah, the idea of it was birthed out of uh verses, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But we developed it into something else that was different. And we have different criterias, rounds 1 through 13. If you guys have not seen the show yet or any of the battles, rounds 1 through 13 broken down into different segments: hits, artistry, and energy. And there's gonna be different criteria for different genres of music and stuff like that. We'll discuss all that for you guys. But even if you are having a battle, this is the time for you to come onto the show as well, because you can kind of like stake your claim in the fight before the battle starts, right? So if you got what it takes, if you think you got what it takes to actually do a battle, let us know. And then schedule you guys for an episode to come and talk about different music or whatnot, and then we'll go do the battle as well. So there's different ways to do the show. There's going to be different ways to that you're going to be seeing this, but the um, primary categories: the episodic one, and that's where you're going to see Chris on here discussing different music with different people. And then the battles are going to be streamed live, and then you will be able to hear the replay of it, or if we cannot get flagged for it, you'll be able to watch the replay on YouTube as well. So there's gonna be different ways to do it. We heard what you guys had to say. A lot of things that you said were valid, so you will be able to do your voting as well. And we have it set up. We'll get into a whole battle format at a later time, but there's a way for a fan representative to be on the show to represent the fans, and then the fans vote counts heavier than even the judges votes. So there's going to be different elements to the show that you're going to love. uh, uh, I don't ever want to hear anyone say anything ever again about this being a rigged show, a rigged battle. Okay, any battle we have is not rigged. It's not rigged.
That's
You
that's awesome.
decide. You decide. You
Except when
compete. You
y'all didn't let
decide.
me win the two battles I did because y'all don't know your own music. Yeah, like none of these battles are rigged though.
None of these battles are rigged. Hey, look, we set the clips up. Competitors, they decide the list.
Pedro, Pedro.
I mean, it's
We need to bring him back on. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about that. That was just. Oh man, that episode was great. All right, keep going.
I'm just, hey man, I think that's probably the best way I could do actually describe this thing. But in a nutshell, this is a show that's led by you, that's for you, um,
Yeah,
and for the culture. So please take advantage of it. We will have something set up later for underground artists, and independent artists, really. But right now, baby steps.
no, that's
This took a
solid,
couple
bro.
of months for us to figure out the format and the right feel of it and all that stuff. So it's coming to a nice product, I think, at this point. So I'm excited for it. I'm definitely excited for it, and
And
I
just
appreciate that you're the new host for the show, bro.
hey
We
man,
needed this.
I'm glad to be here. I love music. It is a part of my life. For those who don't know,
Yeah,
I am not the eminent expert on any and all things music. I'm just a guy that's a fan like everybody else who listens. I listen to a lot of genres, some more than others, but I got dedicated playlists, man, for country. When I think of blues, I don't think of like deep Southern blues. I think of jazz, but
yeah,
I listen to that too. Definitely love bebop and swing, big band. I listen to classical. Shoot, high school, man. My MP3 player. Yeah, I just dated myself. My MP3 player went from it might be going from like Claude Debussy to the to Lil Jon, you
Yo,
know what I'm
man.
saying, to like Eminem, to Lil Wayne, down to man, that's so long ago. I'm trying to think who else was I listening to back then. Cameron for sure. Um, Kirk Franklin, Soldier Boy, Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy, man.
Yeah. When I do all that, man, I do live music and I just love the art.
Yeah.
And I be here for these discussions.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've had plenty of them. We've had plenty of them.
Woo!
So,
Woo!
this is the another avenue, for people to hear that. So, I'm excited, man. I think this is going to be a great show for anyone that's watching and or listening. And speaking of, let me go ahead and get some housekeeping out the way. If you're watching this on YouTube, that means you're on the OTS Media channel, right? So while you're here, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get an update when we post a new video, right? These fans is going to be a fun show you guys do not want to miss. So what I need you guys to do is after you listen to this episode, any podcast platform that you listen to this on, rate, review, let us know what you guys think. Tell us how you feel about the new format and how the flow is and the breakdowns and all that stuff. Let us know what you guys think. You already know what the episode is about today, and as you see on the title. I don't even know what I'm going to name it yet, but it'll probably just be the name of the album itself.
Slick, bro. Shoot. I mean, we could. Hey, Slick, we could call. Nah, we can't. I was gonna say we call this the Heart Part Five. I know we
That'd
can't.
be interesting. That oof. Oh man, that we'll have to get into it. We'll have to get into it, man. We'll have to get into it. But
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I
yeah,
clearly we about to break down this Kendrick Lamar album, and I'm super here for it. I'm ready for this one.
I'm ready. I've been ready, bro. This one's been a long time coming. What, 5 years, right?
Yeah, this one's been a long time coming. 5 years, right? Yeah, man. This that's been a legit 5 year wait. And I mean, for anybody who's heard Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? Like you could appreciate his mastery and artistry
Yeah.
within music. I think he does so much that goes unnoticed, so
Hmm.
much that goes underappreciated.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest I don't know, not clues. Like like one of the biggest indicators of that. Like I've been following Kendrick Lamar since 2011. I've been following him since
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah. Jeez, that's been a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he came out with overly dedicated.
Yeah. I think.
And then coming out of overly dedicated is when he started dropping like high power. I know that came out that summer of 11. I
Yeah.
remember seeing the video and he ended up dropping Section 80 shortly after.
Yeah. I think I didn't get into Kendrick's music until maybe late 2012, early
Okay.
13, something like that. Um, Knew about him, but I didn't know much of his music. But
You know,
I skipped a $10 concert from Kendrick, bro.
bro, bro, let me tell you.
Uh,
It
I'm
was
still
a summer.
sick over that.
Bro, it was a summer I was working. I had a really, really awesome internship job setup situation. I had more money than I mean, I was living my best life, bro. I had excess money. I was living off the coast of Florida. I was down in Cocoa Beach. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
Kendrick Lamar was holding a concert. I want to say it was in like St. Peter's or St. Petersburg or whatever.
mm.
And it wasn't nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump for me to get there. $20 tickets. And I was like, I'm tired. I don't feel like driving.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't even that bad. In retrospect, I've done more
Yeah,
when I
for
like
less.
even more. It's like, bruh. And I'm thinking like $20, I would at least got to see Overly Dedicated,
Yeah,
and I would have got to see Section 80 at minimum.
yeah, yeah.
And now Kendrick is coming here to LA, and
$10 concert.
bro, them concert tickets starting off like almost 200
Yeah,
for standing room only.
yeah. I think he okay, so I was at Georgia State, right? And there was a concert that he was student, coming into school to do. And that's when Good Kid, Mad City came out. And I was like, I I didn't want to go to the concert because I was, I'd rather just go home. And I was going to sit there and wait for like a couple of hours or whatever, get a student discount, right? So it just ended up being $10 for students to go, and I said, I'm good. I'll go some other time, not knowing. Now, if it was J. Cole, I'm gonna tell you right now, if it was J. Cole, I would have stayed, man. I would have stayed. I would have stayed, but I didn't get onto Kendrick's mixtapes until after I heard Get Good Kid, Mad City. So then I went back. I was like, oh man, I
Right.
skipped that. Oh,
Hey, you might actually. Ooh, that's gonna be another episode we're gonna have to do because I've seen Cole in concert 2 times, 2 or 3 times. I haven't seen Kendrick. But they both dropped around the same time.
mm-hmm.
I first heard Cole in 2010, and of course K Dot in 2011. So we're gonna have to have this young debate because personally, I
I'm
think
with that.
Cole is like level 4 K Dot, and K Dot is maxed out K Dot.
Okay, Le- le-
I
we can
love I love Cole.
we can have that discussion and that whole breakdown because that's a whole episode in and of itself.
Oh, it
I'm
it
so
it
with
is.
that.
It is,
I'm
man.
so with that.
To this Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers,
Yeah, man.
bro. I ain't been able to put the album down. Like legit, it came out. Shout out to being in on the West Coast
Oh
because
yeah.
I was still wide awake when the album dropped. I was leaving a function from work, and I was able to just bump the whole album on the way back. Woo!
What were your
Since
first thoughts?
um my first thoughts since Thursday, May 12th
Mm-hmm.
at like 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I ain't gonna hold you. I heard the first song and I was like, man, this is the K Dot we don't need right now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking it's gonna be like top of the morning, top of the morning,
That
top of the morning, amazing, brother. And I'm like, bro, hey, you my guy, but don't do that. Like, I'm not gonna stream that. Like, oh man,
yeah, man.
I didn't want to hear that, dog. And then
Yeah.
I was like, well, give him a chance, let it play. And then let me put his track list up,
Oh,
you know, because I believe the second song was N95.
yes.
And when I was listening to N95, I was like, yo,
Mhm.
N95 is like the new humble.
I I think so too.
And it was like amazing listening to it, like, oh shoot,
Yeah.
he's giving us one. Like we got something here. And I was like, all right, let me listen some more.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Worldwide Steppers, which I'm like, all right, it's cool. Sounds a little woke. Sounds a little enlightened. Sounds like, my man Big Sean when he said Western medicine was weak, which was a really crazy bar. Not crazy because it was good, crazy because it was crazy. But then he got the Die Hard, and I'm like, I'm too late to set my demon straight. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
jamming to it.
Yeah.
Father Time, I was like, all right, this is cool. It's like not really bumping like that, but I'm like, it's straight, you know. I hear the Rich interlude, and I was like, that's cool. Rich Spirit was like, I got a little bop to it. We Cry Together was like the most toxic thing I've ever heard since yeah, bro, I listened to the whole Future album when it dropped like 3 times on repeat, and We Cry Together is more toxic than that whole album. Like, bruh. It
I ain't
is,
gonna hold you, bro. That one confused me, man. But I love her voice.
man. Like, how it confused you though?
Okay, so when I was listening to the album,
Yeah,
um, much like you, I was thinking it's gonna be that punch, right? Like, and I didn't feel that, right? But then when I got to We Cry Together, I'm like, this is toxic as hell. But for some reason, I'm enjoying this, and I don't know why.
you toxic.
I I mean, it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
the beat that they
Mm-hmm.
chose to use with that track.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how, like, because what they're saying isn't anything, it's not anything like deep or whatever. That's stuff you see like on reality TV. I don't watch reality TV. That's annoying to me. Um, but for some that beat was just like
Mm-hmm.
captivating in some way, and I found myself like actually liking it. I if I am, then I just found out something about myself.
Hey, I mean, a lot of snakes don't realize they're immune to their own poison because they usually don't get bit. We're not out there. It's a Cap
Hey
G.
man, it's weird because it was just like it was that instrumentation was just, I don't know how else to put it outside of just saying is that it was captivating. Like it was, there was something special about it for me. So I don't know.
I feel
I don't
that.
know. I could listen to that, just the instrumental of that track, and feel like a little hyped up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
That was real.
I was thinking because it's volume one and volume two, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because that didn't initially show itself in streaming platforms. It was just one contiguous set list.
Really, it showed like that on for me. Well, I have title.
See, well, I use Spotify because I've been using Spotify since like 2011.
Okay.
But I just opened up Spotify on my laptop and then it showed disc one, disc two. But like literally for the last
Oh,
week I've been listening to it. If I pull it, like, actually, let me check my phone because that's what I was about to do when I had initially reached over for my phone,
hmm.
and I wanted to see did it show it as two discs now. So I said like it did not show Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It just showed one list. Whoever
Yeah.
still does that,
For for
it still
me,
does that on
it's,
mobile.
yeah, it's showing volume one and then volume two. I was thinking when I switched from volume one to volume two that it was going to do. I thought he was going to do what I was expecting Drake to do with Scorpion, which was like one, like side A being one feel and side B being another feel. So I was
Both of
thinking,
them fields is trash.
yeah, no, I'm saying like I thought he was going with Scorpion. I thought he was going to do singing on one and rapping on another. That's what I was expecting. So that's what I'm thinking with this. That volume one was going to be like that woke material, and then volume two was going to be like those bangers, right? That's what I was expecting when I saw it. The
Plot twist.
first listen. Yeah, yeah. uh, It was not that. It was not that at all. But
You know, like Well, just circling back though, the like we cry together, as toxic as it was, conceptually it was dope.
It was.
It was very refreshing to hear the beat for Purple Hearts,
Yes.
even though Miss Toxic herself, Summer Walker, came through. And I was like, dang, bro, it's just I'm Captain Planet, bro. I don't really be dealing with the toxicity,
Yeah.
but it'd be a
Yeah.
whole lot of boss hogs out here. Once again, I just dated myself. If you don't know that reference, you are too young. But yeah, count me out. That has been like an anthem.
Yes.
When I felt myself like being inactive, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, why will you call me? And I'm getting turned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crown is cool. It doesn't stand out to me as much as some of the others, but like it's
Mhm.
still a cool song.
Yeah.
And then it's still first impressions. Silent Hill. Silent Hill, I was like, it's straight. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yay, Kodak, you gotta check, but like you ain't need to be on here.
Yeah.
Savior Interlude was like, once again, same old, same old. Now listen to Savior, and I was like, the first thing that stuck out to me was like, Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, you got my attention.
Mhm.
He talked about Future and the Money Counter and J. Cole and whatnot. Auntie Diaries. That was like,
Yo.
that's deep.
Yeah.
Mr. Morale was straight. Mother I Sober was like kind of melancholy. And Mirror was just like a extrospective track.
Mhm.
But again, this is first listen.
Mhm. Mhm.
First listen. Cause like those reactions you had
Mhm.
on second listen,
Yeah.
and I finally got past the shock of like, I'm not shocked, but like I got past the what is this gonna sound like?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now that I knew what it was gonna sound like, I could actually like enjoy more of it.
Mhm.
Bruh.
Yeah.
There is not a song on this album that missed.
Yeah.
This album is so perfectly crafted. It's ridiculous. It's literally like sipping like a good whiskey, or you eating some
Mhm.
food that has like flavors that are layered supremely well, where you can taste the garlic and
Mhm.
then the spice set in. Then you might taste like a citrus note. You just like, yo, how did you develop it?
Yeah.
It's like this is a chef at work
Yeah.
that like cooked up something really masterful for us. And it takes us through this journey of a man that is talking about himself.
Mhm.
But he wasn't lying in his Instagram post when he said, I am all of us, because we relate to this, even though he wasn't talking to us.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, the thing about it is, after I got through that initial shock too, I went I went back and listened to the Heart Part 5. So I'm
Woo!
like, for people that don't really understand like what he's doing with the Heart Part 5, the Heart series is something he'll drop before every album, right? So it kind of like gives you an idea of the theme or something, like what the album is going to be about, right? And the thing when I listened to it again, because the first time I actually checked out the Heart Part 5, I actually almost cried. And I was watching the music video when I listened to it,
Oh yeah,
right?
bro, that video was power. Like the
Obi got
song
me.
of Justin, like you have to watch the video to
You
really
have,
understand some of the verses.
yeah, because like when if I didn't listen to it just by itself, I like, and I was seeing everybody's reactions on social media. I was like, why is everybody reacting this way to it? Because I was like
Wait, what did they react like?
saying it's people that I saw. I'll say not everybody, but just people that I saw, like general the first reactions that because they didn't watch the music video with it, they just listened to the track. I'm like,
That
you
also means they don't get the bars, but anyway,
yeah, and that's why I was confused too. But if you
they was confused.
they were mostly very confused. But if you listen to the Heart Part 5, he's discussing culture, right? And when I heard that, I thought about it, I'm like, Oh, okay. I go back and listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and now I have a different perspective with it because you hear him talk. I missed a couple of things the first listen.
Yeah,
So that's why I didn't want to overreact to it when I first listened to it. Because by the time I stopped the album, I was just like, okay. But after listening to the Heart Part 5 and understanding that he's talking about culture and how this is not culture,
yeah, yeah.
I went back and listened to the album and I'm like, okay, so he's discussing, you know, being in therapy and toxic relationships and even being molested, right? Trying to hide that from his mom and stuff. Like I was like, and I was kind of confused. Like, did he get molested or did he not? Because like I didn't know what he was where he was going with it. But I had to listen to the album and read the lyrics. I wanted because when the album first came out, for some reason the lyrics weren't loading, at least not on Tidal.
The computers were confused.
I, and
No,
that's what I
them.
actually like doing is reading lyrics along with the track, so I can pick up on things that I initially don't hear. Right?
You had to with Kendrick.
My God, my God, it's artistry. This is just art. Like this, there's no other way to put it. This seems like he kind of like reset. You know how like when a quarterback, wide receiver, point guard, whoever gets signed, and they like reset the market for what those players at those positions get paid. It's almost as if he reset the market with how hip hop should be, right? So like we're so used to certain people only doing storytelling, right? But I think like bringing Kodak Black onto this is now going to force newer artists to think about storytelling in their music and not just talking about cash and clothes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel like that's what this did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, how I described this album was it was an album of somebody who was talking to us
Mm-hmm.
and then talking through us and then also chronicling like things about us.
Yeah.
So he's talking to us about his life. He's talking through us in terms of like the lens that we have on life. He's looking at it that way too, because some of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff he rapped about may not be his life, and I'm pretty certain like a lot of this wasn't. But he also rapped it in a way that it was so relatable. I
Mm-hmm.
described it. Actually, I was telling my mom about. It. I was like she's not gonna listen to the album,
Right.
but I was
Right.
just telling her like how awesome it was, and it was just like it's crazy what he did because
Mm-hmm.
he pretty much presented it in a way that man, I'm sorry, like it sounds so redundant. You just go back to that Instagram post when he said, I am all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not a way that you can't relate to the material that he gave because he was able to like strike a common thread amongst everyone, but he did it so artistically
Mm-hmm.
that instead of like listening to a normal storyteller and you're like, okay, they're telling me a story. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost like a conversation with a beat.
It's a therapy session.
I
And
mean, it's that and then some. I mean, because
yeah.
it was so deep as a collective work,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's so comprehensive that each individual track still has its own distinct identity.
Right. Right. Right.
It's not nothing bleeding into the other. Even the interludes are distinct from the tracks that they're interludes for.
Yeah. And they're not even like the traditional interlude.
Nah,
It's
nah.
just it's different. It's different. And I know so as a Christian though, have you heard what some people in Christianity have been saying in terms of this album?
Nah.
No.
I don't
Okay.
know. You about? I feel like you're about to say something that's gonna make me shake my head.
Well,
Oh boy.
there are Okay, so Eckhart Tolle or Tolle, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
But he's referenced in this album quite a bit. I think he's actually in it. I think he's actually the therapist in the project, right?
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe he is. And apparently the thought is, and I'm not sure because I'm not going to say this is right or wrong. I'm just saying this is what I've been hearing is that uh Eckhart's teachings
Mm.
as you know we're I think if I'm not mistaken, I think his teachings believe like we are gods, but like people just don't realize they have not ascended like mentally to like another level of
Yeah.
recognizing that or whatever. And how Jesus, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Jesus was just another Christ among Christs or something like that. And I don't know. It's something that's so different. I don't really understand. But apparently, it's just like his teachings are evolved from Christianity into this new religion that sounds closely like it has Christian um, vernacular in it, I guess, but it's not the teachings of the Bible. And I don't know. I didn't pick up on those themes in the album. Honestly, I heard him. I heard Kendrick discussing um how he was after coming out with album Damn, the album Damn. He was stuck on what he actually wanted to talk about, and he said at the beginning of the album, "This is God." I talked to God about my issues with figuring out what I wanted to talk about, and this is what he said.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that the rest of the album is, like God gave him inspiration for for the music, right? Um, but from what it sounds like, people are saying that this is not the teachings of the Bible, but of Eckhart. Did you pick up on any of that?
I used my super sleuth skills while you were talking to also
Okay.
look up some of his teachings
Okay.
while
Okay.
also trying to not let my beautiful mineral water, aka soda water, aka carbonated water, just
That
go
seltzer water.
everywhere. Bro, this stuff is worse than pop. And it just was like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we good. And I just pulled the cap back and nah,
Nah.
nah. Bro, it's doing entirely too much right now. Like, still, bro, the top's been off and it's bubbling. Like, it's not, it's like it's hot, but it's not
it's
hot.
it's different.
Fan's not hot.
It's different.
On super suit.
It's different. Nah, it's different. But
Oh, that's
what did you
good.
see?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so I had to cover up the label. It looked like I was drinking like I was in jail or something, but I wasn't trying to get, free product placement. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Y'all
yeah.
can holler at us though. Even though your beverage is very delicious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll take all the
Anyway.
sponsorships.
No, but
Not all, but some, a lot.
so I did hear some of that because I actually thought Kendrick was a Hebrew Israelite.
Right. Coming from
And
Damn.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
of the things he says, see, I've actually noticed that to be a trend though nowadays, and not to get too deep into like the whole theological discussion, but I
Mm-hmm.
think people don't understand the parameters of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And as a consequence, because it's so quote unquote common, or a lot of people had an upbringing with it, then there's the common conception that you're able to have Christianity also combine other teachings, and then it's an extension of Christianity. And it's like, nah, it's something
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
Now, you may not know the name of this new style of teachings that you're following, but it's not Christianity. Like, Christianity is very clear. The most principal point of it being that You specifically have to believe that Jesus Christ, and it verbatim says this, is Lord and Savior.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not confess verbally and you do not authentically believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, you are not Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel good. You can read the Bible. You can be in church. You can jump. You can do all those things. But theologically speaking, that is the key. Period. It's like having something on layaway and it's saying like it costs $100 and you may have put $99.99 into layaway. You do not own the item.
Right,
You may
right,
have
right.
had it on layaway for the last 12 months and nobody else has been able to touch this. Also dating myself talking about layaway. But still, like you don't have the item. If you have not done what is required to complete said task in order to receive this item in full or this thing in full,
Mm-hmm.
then you do not have said thing. And I think because Christianity is not tangible,
Mm-hmm.
that is easy to kind of like blur some of these boundaries or these lines with the like with theology,
Mm-hmm.
and also because it's been around for decades and centuries and millennia,
Mm-hmm.
then it's also easy to combine multiple other styles of teachings with it. Like you take something that's been around for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
combine it with the fact that it's also common, and then mix a lack of like understandings of the theology with a bunch of other theologies that don't require as much depth
Mm-hmm.
like outside of you,
Right.
and it's easy to be like, oh yeah, they're all the same thing, and it's like, that's
Yeah.
like a bell pepper, chili pepper, jalapeno are different peppers. Just because they're all peppers don't mean they're the same pepper. You feel
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
love metaphors, y'all. So y'all can get these
Yeah.
metaphors on this show.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of where Kendrick was going, I think Christians who listen to it and identified it as not being Christian are correct. I believe it would be incorrect or a misnomer for somebody to call what Kendrick is doing as Christian,
Mm-hmm.
even if there is an overlap, because it's not like Christianity like doesn't have overlap like morally
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
or with some stuff like
Yeah.
not gonna be like, nah, Christians are the only one that say you can't kill nobody. Like, nah, there ain't no ownership on that. Like,
Yeah.
good things to do are good things to do. That's just it. But now that you said, I do remember hearing the name Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who it was. I'll be hearing all these names, and
Yeah.
I'll be looking up who these folks are. I'll
Yeah.
just be like, it's gonna pop up, and if it don't, I'll be like, I need to know it.
Yeah. I
So
knew him as an author, but I've never read any of his work. So
okay,
I didn't know what the theme of him, was just right off rip. So bringing him up in an album to me, I had no thoughts about it. Um, I don't know. I put it like this: with Damn, I could fully like grasp that he was black, a black Israelite. That that that
yeah,
was that was apparent to me. Um, whatever Eckhart is teaching in this, because I think they are actually good friends. Um, I think whatever his teachings are, to me, it doesn't sound. I can't say Kendrick is going down that path or not. I don't know. That's not what I picked up on with this album, though. I legitimately thought that he was coming from the perspective of, you know, uh, um, how a lot of people say, we're gods and stuff like that. Like that's just what I just figured he was talking about. I wasn't thinking of this on a religious aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like this, that wasn't how it came across to me. So um
Okay.
I don't know. I can honestly say like I don't know if he is coming from that perspective of whatever Eckhart's teachings are. Okay, if he's not, okay, I didn't take it like that. I just looked at the artistry of the album itself, and to me it was just so artistic and well done and honest. Because as an artist, I was more so thinking of him not even just as like a rapper. I was thinking of him as a painter, right? So like I studied art history for a couple of years,
Okay.
and that's what it came across to me as like a painter just putting out these, this, you may not, what you're painting may not necessarily be something that speaks to you in terms of like what you've experienced, but it might speak to someone that like their experience, right? So your art might not be your perspective or might not be your belief, but it still might just be a perspective that you wanted to put into art. And that's how I felt with this. I legitimately felt like he was just painting and just getting this out, and got rid of that log jam or the issues that he was having with coming up with uh, uh, music to write. It just seemed like there was like once that mental log jam was gone, it was just boom, like everything just was just out there. And as an artist, I can respect that, right? Like sometimes I might like I used to draw, right? And I got to art school and got into animation, and the doing that took all the love for drawing away from me, because I was drawing every day and drawing like these different frames, and it just took the fun out of it. It was like it felt like work. And then I didn't draw for like 7 years after that. And then when I drew again, I was like, it felt like there was a reconnection to the art itself, you
That's
know.
real.
And that's what I felt. That's how I felt with this. Because if you're going from Damn to this, and that's maybe even before that, he came out with Range Brothers and Family Ties with Baby Keem, right? Um, but for it to be a project that you wrote, like that just there's like a different
Oh,
level of energy that comes after not being able to do what you love to do for
oh,
so
bro,
long.
facts. Like for those who don't know, I rap. I've been rapping since 2004. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Wow.
been 18 years. And like I got so many split interests.
Mm-hmm.
But like my cousins, like two of my cousins and a good friend of mine, like we were in a group. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
dropped a mixtape. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? And like that was crazy. And it was, I mean, it was nuts. Like I had more songs than we were able to put on like the mixtape, or rather were put on the mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But even of my own accord, like I've written like two full length like tracks. Like I'm talking about I've never borrowed a word from somebody.
Wow.
I take great pride in the old school ideology that if you got a ghostwriter, you can't be considered a GOAT. I don't listen to people and they're like,
Thank
well,
you.
but when people are all in a room, no, if you can't do it,
Yeah.
then you did not do it.
Yeah.
If you're borrowing words from folks or you're getting like whole lines and ideas, it's like that's ghostwriting.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, oh, but this credit, that credit. Like, if I'm like stuck, I got the idea.
Mm-hmm.
You like say, hey, like, what's this word? Like, that's different from when I say borrowing words in the sense of like they're literally filling in the blanks
The
for you, like
lyrics.
consistently
Yeah.
every single time. You just didn't come up with this on like, not, no,
Yeah.
that's different, bro. And I've done it, and I thought the classic, like, not the ADHD that I think people have now, in a sense of they genuinely struggle to listen to albums. So
Mm-hmm.
folks be dropping like full length albums that are
Mm-hmm.
like 33 minutes. And I'm like, nah, like the average song used to be like 3.5, 4 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed three verses, at least two choruses.
Mm-hmm.
The beat would ride out at the end, and you had a little bit of an intro,
Yeah.
and you had skits on albums and all that. And it's
Yes.
like I wrote all that stuff out.
That's
Like it
wild.
was one where like I had tracks and like, my homie laid down some keys. I did like a spoken word. Then at the end, I did a trumpet solo.
Oh wow.
Oh, also for the people who are new to me, I play trumpet. Yeah, I've been playing trumpet for shoot 20, 22 years and almost 23 years.
Wow.
So, I'm sorry, I thought it was next to me. It's on my couch. But anywho, that takes a lot of effort and energy, bro. Because
It does. It does.
I made beats too. I've been making beats since '04.
Wow.
Actually, a lot of that started like at the same time. I was playing football and I was in marching band. And football took precedence over marching. I know, right? I do.
That's so interesting. So like
I know. Go ahead, get it out. Get it out. It's normal to me, but I realize it ain't normal to everybody else.
because I'm thinking of like during a timeout, instead of you being in the huddle, you go run over to the band real quick and play at halftime or something.
I mean, I legit was like part of the marching band, but then like once conditioning started, I was like, all right, deuces, and I
Yeah.
started. Only reason I remotely went back to the band is because I got caught up on a playing practice and I broke all the bones in my wrist
Oof.
and like one part of my thumb, and the cast that I had to wear. Like I had a upper arm cast that stopped here, so my arm was
Oh.
stuck like this
Yeah.
for 3 weeks, and then I got a shortened one for like 2.5. And football season about done. My coaches wouldn't let me play with a cast on
Yeah.
because yeah, they just I felt like they was hating. I felt like I could have did it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, JPP can do it with,
bro, 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 bro. That man got a Powerpuff Girl hand. I'm sorry. If you listen to this, hey dog, I love your game. And I shouldn't have said that. You started this. But
oh
yeah,
Jesus.
like as a consequence, man, I like went back to marching band off of that. But like prior to going back to marching band, like the first few days I was figuring out like what I was gonna do. That's when I really started like working in my craft, and I had downloaded before FL Studio changed its name. It was formerly Fruity Loops, and I had downloaded Fruity Loops and was making beats.
Yeah, man.
I
Yeah.
started writing beats to that, and then I had a genuine notebook because again, as I continue to date myself,
Mm.
we did not have all these fun and fancy apps on phones if you even had a phone.
Bro, I still keep a notebook next to my like on my desk. Like
Bro,
trust me. I get it.
I got a whole notebook. Oh, you can't even see it. I got a whole notebook in the drawer. I
Yeah.
got multiple color sticky notes to keep everything arranged. Those are the sticky notes that's in my drawer.
Yeah.
I still got like a whole set of sticky notes and 3 ink pens that I keep like also on my desk.
Got to, man.
Telling everything. I be
Got to.
writing right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't about to get on my man. Let's do old high horse and talk about how people penmanship suck because they don't know how to write in cursive no more.
Yeah, I
I
swear on
know.
everything. That's one of the things my kids will definitely be learning.
Yeah, it's not really
No
that
choice.
hard.
It's not.
You get to write without lifting up the pen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lazy way of writing. How about that?
But it looks really beautiful
Looks beautiful. Like
if you're not
either
a
way.
doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Back to it. Like in the midst of doing all that, man, that's when I started like really digging more into that musical craft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it takes a lot of work.
Yep.
And the thing about artistry and creativity is because you love what you do, or for those who love what they do,
Mm-hmm.
you get so invested in it that you are your biggest critic and your biggest cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is continually draining you if you're not putting out something to the degree that you think you need, like to the level or the quality you think it needs. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been times I've written songs out and I sat it down for like a month, came back and like erased some lines, or
Mm-hmm.
I got plenty of bars in my phone
Mm-hmm.
where I've sat on the bars, I wrote out like literally 60, 70 bars, decide that I don't like the song and it's trash, but certain bars are hot. And I
Yeah.
use those bars as seeds to make brand new songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, like it just take months to get to that point because when people say like it's inspiration, like it is like inspiration in the sense of, oh, that's really cool. You know what? I want to do something like that. And it's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a matter of, do I mentally have enough space to do all the stuff that actually does exist? I got
Yeah.
all the lightning in the world right now. I just need to have time to let it leak. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
pour it all out. I don't want to dump it. It's got
Mm-hmm.
to come out at a steady rate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's a craft, and anybody who's a master or something doesn't just like it's a
Exactly.
process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether your process is fast or slow is something different, but
Yeah.
it is still a process. It is never instantaneous. It
Yeah.
follows a
Yeah.
set of steps. And I think it was beautiful for him to take this time off because you need that. You are going to have writer's block.
Yeah.
Like again, I've written at least like 3 full albums worth,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of stuff happened, bro, and I was never able to record that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then also had writer's block and school and everything else. And
Yeah.
honestly, it wasn't until maybe a few months ago like I started writing again. Like I was probably on average writing like maybe 2 songs a year, if that. And not
Wow.
even choruses, just straight bars.
Wow.
Because what really did it, man, I started getting inspired by songs like Birdman Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
by The Mob by Lil Wayne, or Let the Beat Build,
Mm-hmm.
where people just flowing and they didn't have a chorus, and it's like
That's
magical to me.
that's brilliant.
Bro, or or sometimes you pull inspiration from like really weird places.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like I'm at church and I hear a song and I'm like, yo, this is grooving. And
Mm-hmm.
then something in me starts flowing and I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shoot, this is an
Mm-hmm.
idea. I'm like, I love Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin. Like one of my favorite albums by them is Physical Graffiti. And I'm like, I'm listening to song. I'm like, yo, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you just be listening to like classical and you hear like a sample rip and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
boom. Nothing
Yeah.
to do with anything,
Yeah.
but everything to do with what you need.
Yeah.
And you don't plan on listening to this stuff, so it might take you 5 years to get there.
Yeah. But I mean, you also don't want to rush that process, right? Like think of how
You can't. Not
different.
even if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can't. But like think of how different Kendrick's discography will look if he just put stuff out to put stuff out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You see, like every time you've heard his project from him, it's like his artistry gets better, but you can see like a different angle. Like again, it's like going okay, so if you go to an art museum,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You go and see maybe on this wall you see themes, a specific theme over here, and then you go over here and see another theme, but it could all be from the same artist, right?
Yeah.
And I think one thing that people forget is you can't box an artist in. That's like one of the that's like death to an artist if they're boxed in, right? And
Yes.
on one project you might want to talk about your beliefs. One other project you might want to talk about your life. Like you saying, like, see what I'm saying? So like everybody thought Kendrick coming out with this was going to be like Damn or Good Kid, Mad City, and you're holding him to this, but he's like, no, this is what this process brought out of me, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's great. And I saw some people. One of my friends said that he feels like this was like Kendrick's retirement. Like he feels like Kendrick like silently retired after this album. And I was thinking about it. I was like, well, even if let's say this is the last one we get from Kendrick, which I don't think this is. I think he's got so much more because he's a father now. He got two kids and a wife, right? So like that's another level of life. It's an evolution of life that's going to produce like different perspectives for him. And to me, and we discussed this on Past the Aux a few weeks ago, but being able to see rappers actually get older, evolve, and their art is actually doing that too. Like 444 with from Jay Z, right? We're not used to seeing that or hearing that, because we've never seen it with hip hop where guys have gotten older, right? So it's
Yeah.
going to be different seeing his music going forward, and like what you saw with got with his early work, his master, with his mixtapes, that's not what you're going to see with his later work, right? So it's going to be his work is going to look different. It's the same thing with I've been saying about J. Cole. As he's gotten older, his art has evolved,
You just want to
right?
bring Cole into
I
this.
did want to bring him in, but it's the same thing. I think
Has it already evolved? Has it?
yes, it has
Oh, really?
perspectives, perspective,
Oh,
perspective.
okay.
That's what
Because
that's what I'm saying. Because you can get what you want from it, right?
yeah, yeah.
As when you
I
get
want to pull
older,
close for you.
it's I enjoyed it, but as the audience, if you're growing older with the artist, like
Yeah.
you'll be able to get different things. People felt a way about 444, right? But anyone in our age group and up that heard it, we're listening to it like, yo, like this is amazing. For the younger generations, they're just sitting there just like,
Because they're not
because
amazing.
they're
No, you didn't think I was gonna say that. Surprise.
no.
Go.
But there's different perspectives that you're not going to be able to get if you've not had that experience,
Bro, one of
right?
the dopest statements I've ever heard is if I ain't learned but one thing a year, I've learned 60 things. And for the people who don't get that, it's like
Yeah,
you can't rush this stuff. Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And the things that you get, like it's going to like accumulate over time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
another statement I love is like in essence, it was you can't speed up the river and you can't slow it down.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you or I mean, so many euphemisms you can use, or it's like, you know, what my absolute favorite in regards to what you say takes 30 years to be 30. No matter which way you cut it, it takes 30 years to be 30. And there are
Yes.
people who have been young ages that have unfortunately dealt with straight trash circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people who have made it like to a higher degree, in their years and never dealt with it.
But see, like
So
with this, like
yeah,
this one, because I think, and you and I have discussed this before, but like being black men and having to face like your trauma is different. And this is what he's doing in this album. He's facing his trauma.
Ooh,
And I
no, he
think that's
didn't.
something that younger audience members may not, you know what I'm saying? Like
Bro,
they
they don't even know they
they don't
traumatized.
they don't know it. So how
Like,
are you going to be able to appreciate when a man is saying like he's dealing with this, he's dealing with that, he's dealt with this fear, he's dealt with this issue, he's dealt with these different issues with his family members and stuff like that. Like,
hey,
you see what I'm saying? It,
somebody ain't going. They just not going. Yo, we got to take a moment for this one. Cause like, but no, for real though, like I think audiences gotta understand because one of my favorite songs on the album was Father Time. Father Time ate me up for like a week straight.
Yeah.
And how he just kept, oh, okay, let's take
Yeah.
bro. Hey, you woo. I. So it works like this because I want to get ahead of myself getting excited.
Yeah. That's what you think.
For those who don't understand the recipe that Kendrick Lamar does, this is why I personally preach the importance of listening to albums straight through. Don't skip
Yes.
songs, don't fast forward through songs. Listen straight through because there's a reason artists put things in these orders.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, you hear a bunch of random foot like stomping at the end, feet stomping at the end, a bunch of random footsteps. And
Mm-hmm.
it isn't until you get to We Cry Together where they finally do it at the end of the song and it says, quit tap dancing around issues.
Yep.
Now you're like, oh, those feet were tap dancing. Oh,
Yeah.
tap dancing is a metaphor for going around the issue instead of going straight to an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's talking about trauma. He like that's why it's important to highlight this stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the order and the structure that it was given.
Yeah.
But moreover, you really got to understand that, like when Kendrick was talking about this, when he said, I am all of us,
Mm-hmm.
some folks ain't realized that they've been through it. Some
Mm-hmm.
folks don't want to acknowledge that they've been through it, hence the tap dancing. Some people don't really understand that they are We Cry Together, and they're like, but I love her though. I love him though. But it's like this is unhealthy,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
y'all ain't really talking about what's the real issue. Why are you really upset right now?
Yeah.
Like what's the real reason? Like Kanye said, do you remember what the issue is? I was trying to find where the tissue is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what are we really arguing about right now?
Mm-hmm. But even speaking of Kanye, though, he even addressed that with Drake and Kanye. You know, like
I love it. He said, I guess I'm not as mature as I thought.
I guess I'm not as mature as I thought, and I'm like, okay,
I mean,
that
from my
that takes a
understanding,
lot for you to actually say that, though, right? Like
I mean,
that level of acknowledgement and self-awareness to say, okay, maybe I need to check myself for reacting this way.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that that's another thing that you have to be able to go through some scenarios or experiences and situations to even come to that conclusion.
But that's the thing, like it's a part of you having to go through experiences, situations, and circumstances. Another part is actually being able to like decipher it, digest it,
Mm-hmm.
actually like give some thought to figuring it out. Like I've been speaking to people and they look at the issue and they don't want to address it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're like, well, I said what I said in the moment, and that's it. That's all the effort, energy, and thought that they give to it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of people are okay with living like this because they surround them folks with, you know, they surround themselves with folks who help perpetuate these ideologies of like being stagnant.
Right.
And some of y'all are probably like, man, what is he talking about? Or you're hearing what I'm saying, and it might sound like a certain way. So, in essence, it's like Kendrick Lamar is genuinely growing as a person throughout his rap career. Not only is he genuinely growing as a person, but he's transparent enough to actually put that on each and every album. So everything we hear from him is showing his growth as a person and as
Mm-hmm.
an artist. It's not
Mm-hmm.
to say that everything was in real time, because
Right.
Good Kid in Mad City talked about him from like literally being in the kid shoes to
Yeah.
being an adult. But if you
Yeah.
think about when he dropped that 9 years ago, and then now he's rapping as a father, a married man of two kids.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all didn't know he was married. Y'all didn't know he had two kids. He's
Mm-hmm.
keeping his life private. It doesn't mean that he still didn't have stuff happen.
Yep.
But just like he kept his life private, he doesn't know about our lives. How are we able to relate to these situations?
Yep.
Because we're still growing. The things that some of us are dealing with in 30s and 40s, we didn't think we were going to be dealing with in our teens and 20s.
Yeah.
Yet here we are.
Yeah.
And then sort of people who've been able to no longer deal with those situations and actually dealt with it, not tap dance around and not try to run till it quote unquote hopefully goes away. That's what Kendrick is talking about in this album.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who actually addressed heads up, like with all of these issues through these years of life, to a point where he couldn't conceptualize it. Like my auntie is a man now, and talking about how he used to view his uncle or aunt, like, and I say, or not to be disrespectful to anybody, but also that this is a concept that is still relatively new for some people. And I'm
Yeah.
also speaking from the perspective that I believe Kendrick was speaking with, in terms of him saying, like, this is something that I'm still working out. And
Yeah.
people are so like pissed at him and they're, oh, well, why don't you say your uncle? And why don't you do this? And it's like he's being transparent about where he's at.
I think people
Pissed
aren't
at him,
listening
like,
though.
you said what?
People aren't listening
No,
because
if people
if
were
you,
listening, they would be so quick to recognize that he's being so transparent about his growth into this area instead of
Mhm.
expecting, well, you put an album out, so you need to. No, you talk to people every day who ain't on the level that you are.
Yeah,
Why are
exactly.
you mad at him for being a human just like us? What? Because he got money?
Mm-hmm.
Because he put an album out? He's
Yeah.
supposed to be at a different level?
Yeah.
That man bleed like we do,
Mm-hmm.
and he got the same bodily functions, and he ain't nothing special.
Yeah. But see, like even with Auntie Diaries though, like my first listen, I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, he dropped the F bomb. I mean the F word, like how many times? I was sitting here, I was like, man, that might get him in trouble. Right. But then I listened to it when I listened to it the second time, I was like,
When you listen to how he did it,
oh, gotcha. I was like, okay, it's talking about his perspective and like the language that was utilized in that time when especially when he found out as a kid. You know what I'm saying?
he
So
wasn't he
he
wasn't doing
can't.
it just to do it. It's literally
There's
art.
it's art. Art is not supposed to be something that uh uh everyone feels the same thing about, right?
Yeah.
If that was a case, it wouldn't be art. Art is something that like it creates a reaction and an emotion. It evokes, that's the word. It evokes
Yeah.
emotion and reaction that I think some people are not um what's the right way to put it? I don't think some people are as prepared as they think they are to feel said emotion or reaction.
I
Because if you were, you would know how to deal with certain things and how to actually like take in art. There's a different this it's a level, it's something that you can't just look at once and be like, ah, this is it, that whatever. Now in specific with specific artists though, like some of the newer guys, you can do that. Those guys are kind of like, yeah, you can look at it and listen to it once, twice, you get it. All right, cool, right? But when you're talking about artists that are deep thinkers, that are layered, that attack things from a different angle, right? Like those type of artists, you cannot fly through their music. You cannot do it because if
well,
you do it, you're gonna miss so much, so
people
much.
people like attack artistry. So it's, oh man, this is such a hard concept to explain,
Yeah.
because I think what ends up happening is people have preconceived notions about what should or shouldn't happen, and why it should or shouldn't happen.
Right.
And so
Right. Right.
then if things don't fit into that realm, they don't try to figure out why didn't it fit into that realm.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, now I'm upset it didn't fit. You shouldn't have did this. And it's like, how many of y'all ask the question why? Like,
Right.
if you can ask the question why, then give a valid or justifiable answer, then it can give more credence to your feelings and your expression of those feelings. But if
Right.
you ask the question why, you can't give an answer, you need to stop and figure out what the answer is to this. If you ask
Exactly.
the question why, excuse me, or if you don't ask the question why at all,
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult for you to expect somebody to give credence to all of your feelings and you're not trying to understand exactly what happened. Because it's not to say that they might not be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't even understand. Now you just feelings.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't listen to react. You have to listen to understand. And I think
Yeah.
people don't do that. We don't do that with communication in general, right? As a society, we don't do that.
We cry together. So I was so toxic. You got two people who never listen to one another having an argument about everything. And then even in the midst of the argument, they never got to the root of their issue. They ended the whole song having makeup sex.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole argument that led to makeup sex were a bunch of mini arguments about everything but what the real
Everything.
issue was.
Exactly.
And so nobody
Exactly.
paid attention to what the other person needed. And that's why it's so toxic because everybody knows it's called makeup sex for a reason because they made up using sex, but they ain't never fixed the issue. It's not called fix up sex.
Makeup sex. Yeah, yeah. And see, that ended up being like the band-aid on it, like it stopped the
Mhm.
bleeding, but it didn't address the issue, right? So you can't, like, it is a toxic situation. there's
Right.
so there's
Big
no other way to
fact.
put it. That's it's a toxic thing to deal with. So, if you're in that situation, this is what he's talking about. This is what he's
No,
talking
fact.
about. And I
I
think
knew
people weren't.
everybody that was gonna love that song. I was like, well, y'all toxic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But people aren't willing to understand why that was a thing, right? It's like you're just avoiding the solution. You're masking the problem. You're not addressing the issue, which is the theme of the album, right? He's addressing the issue through therapy and actually like self-reflection of what caused what to be this way, or why this made him feel this way. So that song in and of itself encapsulates what the whole album actually is. It's just that people aren't like thinking about it on that level. They're just kind of like, it's toxic, okay, whatever, move along. And it's
Like,
not like that. It's a skit that really tells you what this is about,
I mean, if you
or what
really,
it can be if you're not addressing it with therapy, right? Like
I
those.
mean, I think another way to look at it is the title. It says "We Cry Together." You got two people who are hurting and they're crying together,
Mm-hmm.
but they're so focused on self that they don't realize that the other person is crying nor what they're crying about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I should have did this with your cousin. You saying stuff because you're crying and you're hurt. Why did you say that? Again, going back, nobody asked why.
Yeah.
You did what? Bit. That's like, oh,
She
okay.
talked about sleeping with his cousin, talked about his mom's. Like, it's
My
all
mom
this
gave you that car.
stuff.
She just did it to do this, and it's like there's no acknowledgement. Bro, man, so many layers to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But this was a beautiful album. I don't think that I can actually say, I don't want to rank it yet. Because I know I've seen people already starting to rank it and all that stuff. I don't want to do that. I think it doesn't have, to me, it doesn't have the replay value in terms of being in the car and I gotta bang, I gotta listen to this for those bangers, right? It's not that type of album.
which of his albums is?
Damn.
You said that
Good
like you
Kid, Mad City. No,
man,
like,
no, good kid,
those
Mad
those
City. Man.
they have those, they have the retroactive, um, the reflective themes in them, right? But I'm talking about in terms of like radio hits and stuff like that. Like,
He got at least 5 radio hits on Mr. Morale.
I think so. I think so. But I'm saying, like, to like the person that is going to, the lay person in the audience, are they going to go back and listen to this album to get those bangers? I
So
don't I don't think that a lot of people are going to do that with this album.
I think what
I
happened.
will listen to it all the time, like a lot. This is one of those things that I'm still trying to dissect and understand, right? Um, but I think a lot of people are not going to run back to this album and listen to it because of like it didn't instrumentation to me, production was amazing, right? But if you're one of those people that likes to listen to music because it's got like a hard hitting bass and like a catchy hook or whatever, this might not be that project you run to for that. That's my only point.
Oh, yeah, I think if you're looking for simple stuff, then you come to the wrong album to begin with.
Yes,
But
yes, yes, yes,
you know who
yes.
you are dealing with, then you know what you like. I don't necessarily care for Young Thug's music,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't act like ain't no point in time I've ever heard Young Thug in the club or not club, it's not really club, but
Yeah.
in like a bar or a lounge or a function, and it wasn't turned. Like it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
hype. It was like, dang, I'm like, what's this? Because
Yeah.
it's the situation, and you're like, oh, okay. I was listening to Young Thug thinking I'm gonna hear some bars and it's gonna be enjoyable. No, it's energy, it's mood music, like
Mm-hmm.
that mood music, like that's all it really is. And like Kendrick
Yeah.
is like got dope beats and he has a message within the message,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't just like gloss over all that. So
I agree.
whether it be with you talking about an all right from T-Pab
Mm-hmm.
or to Pimp a Butterfly, or you talking about like loyalty on Damn,
Mm-hmm.
or you talking about like money trees or whatever, like all of these still had deep messages.
They did.
Like
They did.
you just
Yeah.
so happen to have like a simpler chorus with like poetic justice or like money trees
Mm-hmm.
than with like something here. But to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, I think this is his best work yet. And I honestly have it tied pending the ability to actually go beyond
Mm-hmm.
Good Kid Mad City is number one.
Ooh.
Because current before this album dropped, number one was Good Kid Mad City.
Uh-huh.
Uh excuse me. Number one was Good Kid Mad City tied with To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay.
I actually thought To Pimp a Butterfly was the greatest work he ever made prior to this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think To Pimp a Butterfly was entirely too complex for everybody who wanted a repeat of Good Kid Mad City.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they were just like, what is this? I'm not going to listen. I'm like, that album was funky. It was literally like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers on introspection,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
hardcore. It was inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
He addressed socio-political issues. He
Mm-hmm.
talked about stuff that we all have gone through. He was divulging life secrets and issues.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all were just like, money trees. I was like, nah, bro, like this ain't that. Like this ain't that. And it's so sad that so many people rate it low. And I'm like, hey, if you don't get it, just say that. Like, we're not gonna judge you,
Right,
but I'm
right,
I'm
right, right.
definitely judging you for acting like you get it and you don't. Like, you know you capping right now. But anyway, those were tied for first. Um, Second would have been or is Section 80. And honestly, like I think my least favorite album from him is Damn.
Really?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
all this stuff is phenomenal.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think all of his stuff is 8.5 and higher minimum. It's just
Yeah.
that Damn is my least favorite. But I think like at that point he hit that stride that a lot of people hit on their third album
Mm-hmm.
or their third commercial album. Everybody with that third commercial joint tends to hit this like, oh, okay, we didn't know what to expect your first one. We wanted to see because you repeated your second one. Now you bona fide and you can throw all these commercial artists on there. And I think him having Rihanna on there like made
Yeah.
things like such a spectacular level in terms of like marketability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really it. Like folks really wasn't listening to what he was saying. It was just like, sit down, be humble. It's in my DNA. And it's like, what is he talking about, y'all? Or can y'all just quote the chorus?
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's the type of that's the reason why I think that this is going to be one of those albums that a lot of people don't go to because of that. I think there are a lot of people that that is one that they're gonna. I agree that that is one. That is one.
Okay.
But I'm saying like in terms of like Damn to me was one of those albums that had a lot of that on there. Good Kid,
I
Mad
feel you.
City had a lot of that on there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this has a lot of that on here.
Daddy issues.
I'm saying you think you're gonna hear people
Now,
going
granted,
down the highway
no.
blowing this up? No, it's
But
not
you
gonna.
are
That's
going to
not,
hear, I'm hope I'm not too late to set my demons
now
straight.
it'll actually be good on reels, like on Instagram reels and stuff like that. We might see it like on there. But I'm saying
Bro,
in terms
Die
of
Hard is going to get mad play. And he got blast on there. And you're going to hear people, hey,
yeah,
like,
but
that's why he did it.
good. That probably is why. Because I was wondering that too. And N95, I think he did that on there too. But I don't think this is gonna be one of those albums that you just hear people like blasting in their radio in the car. I don't think that it is amazing work, but that's the only thing for me that I don't think we will capture with this is that people will be doing that.
I think one of the worst things that has happened in modern day times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to make sure I wasn't redundant. Wasn't redundant. Is that folks' attention spans are like so low that
Yeah,
we have given that too much credence to determine like what is good or what is bad or what is marketable and
I
what
agree with
isn't.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Like, just because your attention span isn't like here doesn't mean I need to drop down to the level you are.
right,
You can raise your level or you can keep it moving.
right.
And I think when you hear like the music that comes out, you're not going to hear such a catchy chorus or like this hook that's like, I remember the hook. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you listen to music, then you listen to music.
For sure,
And
for
so
sure.
you're still going to make it anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
all that being said, I think Die Hard like has a really it has an upbeat sound, not only in tempo, but the instrumentation and like the melodies that were used. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is lighter. This isn't as heavy or as deep. When you hear Purple Hearts,
Mm-hmm.
bro, Purple Hearts is definitely gonna get mad play, especially because it got Summer Walker on it. And for the older heads, you're gonna get Ghostface on there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gonna be happy about that. But that like, man, that's gonna be like a nice little I want to post something sensual. It's gonna be used all
Mm-hmm.
the time on Instagram and Snapchat and all these other things. Count me out, bro. Count me out
Oh,
is
count me out.
super catchy.
Yeah.
It is super catchy.
Yeah.
So when you think about count me out, I love when you count me out. I
Mm-hmm.
love when you count me out. And then you
Mm-hmm.
hear that push these niggas on me like huh, push these niggas on me like huh.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, one in the face. And then you
Mm-hmm.
still talking about I'm hope I'm not too late to set my demons straight. And
Yeah.
then you talking about purple. Oh, did I just name four that were easy to recite and got good beats and people are gonna be bumping them in the car? Kendrick does the same thing every album. He just switched up what it sound like.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, to
That's
me,
fine.
I think most, I think, in my opinion, I think those tracks are going to be used on Instagram Reels more than you'll hear on, like, if you're just like driving down the street.
Oh,
Personally, because I've already seen it on Reels, like a couple times where people have been
yeah,
using it.
so like, remember I was showing you the barbershop I was at last night?
Yeah.
That's not really a barbershop.
Yeah.
Weirdest thing ever, bro. It was like me, my homie, and maybe like two other folks
Mm-hmm.
that look like me.
Yeah.
Everything else is my walls that you can see. It was my floor. It was snow. It was flour. It was sugar. It
Yeah.
was copy paper. It was whiteout.
Yeah.
No, but bro, I was confused because They was in there playing like a ton of Young Thug. Then they started playing some NBA Young Boy, and I'm like, it's not that these guys aren't commercial, but
Yeah.
based on who I've seen in here, what I've heard y'all say and do, the fact that y'all know these lyrics right now are really confusing to me. I would have never guessed that you listened to this.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all that to say, like, you'd be shocked who listens to what. But I also think the other thing that my story displays is that there's kind of this like trend with, I'm gonna call it designer street music.
Hmm.
Not like no Rick Ross like luxury stuff. It's like I'm gonna listen to these guys that like might be street affiliated, but they are like really glitzy and glam about it, and you know they're really like superstarish and all that
Hmm.
type of stuff. And the
Hmm.
problem is that it has this element of like I'm in your face, I'm braggadocious, I'm big, I'm famous, while also having this element of like I bet you ain't gonna do it though.
Right.
Make you feel like you tough and you know all these things are really gritty and sell that fantasy to you.
Mm.
And I think the big issue with that is it allows people to live this fantasy and that ain't really their life, and that's why they play it. Right? It's that much more attractive. It's that much more catchy.
Hmm.
And they be listening to all the other stuff, but when you're trying to show out or you want to look cool, you want to present an image that may not
Right.
necessarily be you.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
all that to say, like I think Kendrick is still gonna get like mad radio play, mad airtime, mad love in the whips. You just not gonna hear him at the parties. Like you got some beats that are dope. Like N95
Yeah.
got a
Yeah. Yeah.
dope beat, but you're
Yeah.
not gonna like hear N95 in like the middle of a set because like you know what I'm saying. That's like me
Yeah.
trying to slow dance with a chick to some Common.
That's my point. That's my overall point.
But
That's my overall point. That's my
but we
overall
still
point.
know the but we know the Common. But we know
Yes.
Common.
Yes.
We listen
Yes.
to Common. We jam Common. It's just Common ain't gonna fit the situation. That's
That,
my point. So
that's
it's gonna get mad love. It's just not gonna be certain situations.
okay. That may be the best way to put it. That may be the best way to put it. I think it's going to still get love, but it's certain situations that other albums that he's put out would likely get love in those specific situations that I don't think that this one will. That's the best way to put it.
I can go with that based on the choruses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do think that Die Hard and Silent Hill are gonna get a buttload of love.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah.
Um and I think that yeah, Die Hard, Silent Hill, they're gonna get all the love. And then I think Purple Hearts is actually gonna probably have like the longest run because it's the most commercial sounding track
Hmm.
that he got. And yeah, Rich Spirit might get some love too.
Yeah. I think hey, it's
He
it's
got some
going to get
solid features.
oh for sure. And I think the
Oh, I'm sorry. Why do I keep skipping Count Me Out? Count Me Out is definitely gonna get
count
Count
me
Me
up.
Out reminded me of 100 Mil by J. Cole.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is no shade to Cole. It was just like it reminded me of like 100 Mil, but it was better.
I can see
I
that.
think melodically is catchier.
Yeah,
Like
I can see that.
100, yeah, 100 Mil was like it's dope. He spat the verse. He had a little bit of harmony at the end. He like you feeling this. And Count Me Out is like Kendrick mastered like multiple melodies, multiple rhythms, multiple sounds, and you didn't even realize that's a 4 minute track
Right. 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 Right.
because he's keeping your attention with all this misdirection, and it's super catchy, super
Mm-hmm.
catchy. It's like that's a banger, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like gonna be something people can gravitate to. I love when you count me out. They're not even
Oh,
realizing what he's talking about.
that's gonna be that's one of the tracks I seriously believe is gonna be one of those things that people blow up on Instagram with. I think that's gonna be utilized a lot on Reels.
You know, By the way, man, I had a homie, tell me some time ago he don't really like Kendrick. Separate but related. He talked about Kendrick's flow, and I think this listening to "Count Me Out" was one thing that did it. And yeah, I'll say listening to "Count Me Out" was just one of the best ways to look at it. And I can't remember the other song off the top of my head, but anyway, for people who don't necessarily like Kendrick or like his flow, if you like jazz, you'll like Kendrick. If you don't like jazz, then it's a toss up on if you'll like Kendrick because you don't know enough jazz to know what Kendrick is doing. But
Mm-hmm.
I've always likened Kendrick's cadences to a saxophone more than any
That's
other
interesting.
instrument
Yeah.
because the way he flows is he does a lot of polyrhythms,
Mm-hmm.
but he does them individually. So for people who don't know what polyrhythms are, they're rhythms that are on different cadences but on the same beat.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear this and then you're talking something that doesn't make sense with the rhythm. And you heard my claps delayed too. But if you were to syncopate everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything would still be up on this. It just wouldn't always hit on this same clap.
That's an interesting way to put it.
And so what you end up having is multiple rhythms that fit within the beat,
Mm-hmm.
but because he's having them done separately, he's not having them stack on each other so you
Mm-hmm.
can compare them all. Now, as a musician, I'm like, oh, I heard you just go from 4/4 to 6/8 to 15/2 and all these weird rhythms. But
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, music is like a fraction. So the bottom number is telling you what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter if I said 33 over whatever. I said 4/4. The next one I said 15/2. 2 and 4 are related. 4 is just double
Yeah.
of 2.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I said you went to 6/8, 2, 4, and 8, they're still related.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm telling you that is all happening within this same span, but what I'm fitting in that span is changing.
Right.
If it's 33/2, in this, I just fit 32 notes in there. Excuse me, I just fit 33 notes in there. If it's 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's 6/8, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or not, that's 3, 4. Same difference though.
That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, but it's like it's all following this same cadence. And Kendrick raps like that with multiple rhythms on the
Yeah.
same song and don't
Yeah.
stack them. So
Yeah.
somebody's like, he's off beat, and he's like, nah, he's not off beat. He switched cadences because he
Yeah.
never lost what he was doing. But if you don't know what he's doing, it's going to be difficult for you to follow it. And I
Right.
think that's what makes a lot of the tracks he does so special, because even when you think about Count Me Out, and he's like, miss me, hey, miss me, hey, miss me. Anybody got it for the like
Yeah.
anybody got it for the one, anybody got it for the one, like how he
Yeah.
repeats it over each other. And then he's like, I made a decision, never give you my feelings. Like how he slows that down, and this is like, bro,
Yeah.
stretching notes, but you didn't get off beat.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
I put it on a devil for sure. And then
Yeah.
he's like, I blame it on my ego, Lord of all lords. Like he's delaying notes, but he also made sure he took pauses between.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I love when you call me out. I hear all those things separately. But when you
Yeah.
hear it all on the track, it's like, oh shoot, these are like really different.
Yeah.
And if you're not catching up with the fact that he's doing polyrhythms, like it sounds like he just doing stuff.
Yeah. 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 That's I didn't think about it like that.
I listen to it,
That's
but I'm like, yo, this stuff is magical.
very
Because
interesting.
for rappers who don't know like musicality, you wouldn't do this. So that's when I was here like a J. Cole or somebody else, and it's like, it ain't that y'all can't do all these different flows, and that's beautiful. But like because Kendrick has such a high mastery of jazz, he's able to put multiple cadences in his stuff that gives you like, whoa, wait, what did he just do? But
Yeah,
why
yeah,
am I
yeah,
not
yeah.
mad at it? Or what did he just do?
Yeah.
And I'm mad at it, but why am I still here?
Yeah. I like that. I
It's
like that.
bro, Kendrick is different, bro.
He
Like,
is. Artistry is his
woo,
art is just he's on another tier. He's on a tier of his on his own, in my opinion.
yeah.
Artistically. Um, I
Even think of
love
some
it.
of the old interludes on Section 80, or even like
Yeah.
Absol's outro, or how he was literally rapping like a spoken word cadence to like a jazz tempo, and I almost like started doing it because I'm just like, it's bro, it's so cold. Hey, this man need to get his flowers for that.
Yeah, for sure. For
He
sure.
do raps jazz solos.
Yeah.
If you like Masego, you need to love Kendrick. I don't get it.
Man, so I think overall, what would you rate the album?
10, 10.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to remove bias from it, but I literally in the last like 9 or 10 days have not been able to put the album down. Each time I listened, something new was revealed, and it got to the point where I was enjoying the song so much that I didn't even realize like that there were deeper meanings. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, this song hits on so many levels. Like, is deep, it's relatable, it's also a bop. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also telling us the story of his life. He's somehow telling us the story of our lives all at the same time. Like, the I said, the cadences were nuts. The production that he got really solid production, because I think what makes this album separate from all the others too. Yeah, that's what we ain't get into like this. Damn had the most synth heavy and very full production of any of his works. It was very instrumentation heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Um synth though.
Mm-hmm.
To Pimp a Butterfly was instrumentation heavy, but it had a lot of live instrumentation and a lot of funk elements.
Yeah.
So even some of the stuff he did reminded me of like Parliament and Funkadelic, like with the talking.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Kid, Mad City, I think, was a typical rap album. It just had themes we hadn't heard. So it
Right.
was like a nice little balance. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I think, stripped down a lot of the instrumentation,
Mm-hmm.
and that the engineering was so perfect and the leveling was, but his stuff wasn't like so heavily carried by the beats that when you walk around thinking about these songs, you don't remember what the production sound
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
like you would with all the other songs. You can hum them, yeah, like loyalty, 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 loyalty. Like with
That
this, you like,
yes.
I'm straight on the lyrics.
Yes.
And that's what made it so masterful to me, because we're talking about how dope this album is, not even realizing like how much in the pocket the production was. It's
Mm-hmm.
strictly Kendrick's vocals carried this album like an album should be carried.
Yeah.
How can you not make? I mean,
That's the best way to put it. That's the
woo!
best way to put it, man.
How is this not a 10?
Yeah. No, it's like I got it at a 10 as well, man. I loved it. I'm still going through it. I'm still working through it. Um, like I said, I think I'm even listening to Range Brothers and Family Ties to see if there's any correlation, because there's so many, like, the features that Kendrick is on before his album releases.
Yeah,
He always kind of like ties something into it, whether it's the cadence, whether it like the theme or whatever. Like he's tying something into that feature that's with the album. And I'm still trying to listen to it to see if there's anything that I didn't catch just listening to those tracks alone. And I still haven't gotten it yet, but I'm still working through it. So to me, the album is a 10. I think this is art that will not be appreciated for a few years. by the mass. I think this is somewhat like to Pimp a Butterfly, because
I
you
don't think they're
remember when that album came out though, it didn't have as much appreciation as it does now.
because man, you wanted to feel like you was thugging, like you was in Good Kid, Mad City.
That's my point. That like that's the reason why I don't think we're gonna be hearing people bang this out like that on like in the cars, because at least not right now, because I think it's gonna take a while for people to get there, like, and appreciate this album that way.
I
That
think what makes this
that's my
album
only
so
point about it.
special. I think this album's so special though because he took the depth of To Pimp a Butterfly.
Mm.
He gave it the commercialism of Good Kid, Mad City.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you
So that's why I
wholeheartedly.
say that like it will get that love. I just don't think everybody will be able to break down the themes because
Right.
you got to think about it. With this being his what Section 80, Good Kid, To Pimp a Butterfly, now being his fifth studio album, like there are expectations that you just can't escape at this point that people have when you drop. So it's like they
That's
gonna
yes.
box him in to some degree anyway. But
Yeah.
I think he did a great job of like stepping outside of that box as much
Mm-hmm.
as he could and
Mm-hmm.
giving us something that's like high quality.
Yeah.
And not only is it high quality and outside of the box, but like it's bopping. Like this is a really balanced album.
It
And
is.
like both discs is like, dang,
Yeah.
disc one, you got a thumper in N95. You got a good summer jam and Die Hard. You got introspection and Father Time,
Mm-hmm.
Rich Spirit. You got really relatable, very creative and artistic. We Cry Together in a banger in Purple Hearts. And then disc two starts out with Count Me Out. Then you got Crown, Silent
Mm-hmm.
Hill,
Mm-hmm.
Savior,
Mm-hmm.
the depth of Auntie Diaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what are we talking about? Like,
Yeah.
it's balanced.
Yeah.
It's nuts. He covered so much ground in like an hour.
Yes. I agree. I agree. I agree. This is going to be one of those albums that it's going to take a while. I still think I'm still uncovering other stuff from his other work anyway. So I think this is art. Art to me, especially when it's so layered, evolves over time. And that's what I appreciate about artists like Kendrick that are so complex that you have no choice but to go through their work and understand what those layers are. And you might get things that he didn't even, initially put into it, like go into the project with that thought, but it evolved into that as he worked on it. He might not even know about it, but this that's just what art does. That's what art does. And I think this is a perfect example of art. Like, if a painting had sound to it, that's what this would be to me.
Hmm.
That's what this would be to me. It's a masterpiece that I don't think will get the the appreciation, the level of appreciation that it deserves until um sometime down the road.
No, that's real. That's real.
Yeah.
That's
So it's one of those things you get to sit with for a while to get.
yeah. No, this
Yeah.
man. First album is so dope, man. It's
Yeah.
nuts how much you can extract from it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
its depth. I think what makes this album so deep is instead of speaking to issues that people really had to think on, it's hard. Like To Pimp a Butterfly was a lot of social commentary
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
political and social economic issues, which do affect us,
Yes.
but everybody doesn't think about it the same. Good Kid, Mad City. Let's be real. Most of us who was listening have not banged or been adjacent to bangers, so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people didn't relate to that. Damn, I think was more commercial than anything, even though it was deep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people didn't take time to break down what he was saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you got Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. with a bunch of very recognizable individual themes.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's so common to just living and breathing, I think that's what makes this album so deep.
Yeah,
Because the more you reveal from the song is almost like the more you revealing from yourself.
exactly. This album is putting up a mirror in front of yourself and being able to actually do self-reflection, especially
Yeah.
as Black men. And
Oh
that's what
yeah,
I can appreciate about it for sure.
bro. Yeah, I ain't met a black dude yet who ain't been torn up by Father Time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bruh. Yeah. Whew. Hey, man. Kendrick Lamar fans coming soon. Pick who you want to lose against.
Yeah. Hey man, and look, Kendrick has to have a battle and has to have a battle real soon. Um,
Ooh, you already know what this is about to be.
what?
And then we can have a hey, we slip. Hey, should we? Should yeah. Hey, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole fans coming soon. Ooh, you sick.
I'm
You sick because
to
you
be
know this one
completely
about
honest,
nasty.
I that's gonna be one we have to think about. That's gonna be one we have to think about it. We got to think about it. I like that's one of those that's disgusting.
Hey,
Disgusting
hey.
because it can go it could swing either way. But then if you break it down to different levels, like you already know who's gonna win, but then on the other levels you already know who's gonna win on this. Like it's different. We could do it. We could do it. I'm game for it. I'm
I
game for it.
mean,
There's different things to do with it, so I'm with it. Like I think that could be that should be a battle. I think that should be a battle because especially because Kendrick Cole, to me, I'm gonna put it like this: the rappers that are the biggest to me lyrically today, that are like on that GOAT level today, Kendrick Cole, Big Sean, lyrically,
thank you for saying Big Sean.
lyrically,
Thank you for saying Big Sean.
lyrically, though.
Bro, bro, thank you. I'm just
So
Big Sean, dog. Big Sean does not get the flowers he deserves, and I think bar none. Even I don't even think Kendrick or Cole could technically hang with him to a degree when Big Sean is really in his bag because the metaphors he drops are so effortless. It is stupid.
they
Like he
they
don't
they
necessarily
all
go as deep as them,
yeah.
but
As I was
this
saying,
bar
all three
game
of
is
them have their lane. All three of them
woo.
have their like the reasons why they're the best at said thing, right?
But we also got to give some credit to Wale though, because
And Wale, no, Wale is up there for me too. But I'm just saying lyrically, those are the three that I'm gonna go with. If I'm gonna give
yeah,
you only if I'm gonna give you three, those are the three I'm gonna go with first.
I'm with it.
Then I'll go with Wale and others after that.
I'm cool with that. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely cool with that. I'm overjoyed Big Sean being flowers from you. Like,
I'm a big
huh?
Sean fan. I love that guy.
You trying to figure that out? You're like, I'm a big.
Yeah, I said I was like, God dog, that just didn't that is not gonna come out right. So I'm just say his
It's
name.
okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
hey man, big. Whew, Big Sean bars are so crazy. He be, bro,
Wild.
be gliding over tracks.
He's wild. He's wild. And I think he's gonna be one of those guys that again, as time goes, we'll be able to appreciate his work even more on a bigger scale. Societally, I think his work will get a bit more appreciation down the line.
Hey, yeah, I'm with it. Look,
Yeah, man.
I'm loving this discussion. I know we got to wrap it up because I could talk more about this all day. You
Yeah.
know, I'm another thing that y'all should know about me. I am from Michigan, born and raised. I'm straight up bred from the mitten. I'm
Yeah.
here for all things that are Michigan. No, I am not from Detroit. Don't you ever say I'm from Detroit, because once again, that is not where I'm from. I'm proudly from Saginaw,
Yeah,
straight
yeah,
up and down. However, Detroit, despite not being the capital, don't y'all ever call Detroit the capital. It is the heartbeat of the state. So most folks who from Michigan are for all things that are Detroit.
yeah,
Long as y'all got that history lesson, we good.
yeah. Yeah, man. Well, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Y'all can find me in the streets. No, I'm just playing. I don't belong there. Um, you can find me on Instagram. My personal is one Chris Rob. Literally the numeral one Chris CHRISROB is in boy. Um, I also have another analogous podcast called Everyday Genius, where we talk about science. Because surprise, I'm a scientist, y'all. I'm a classically trained chemist, and I hold multiple degrees in chemistry and materials. So you can find me at Everyday Genius 365. And if you find me on Facebook, you can go ahead and add me. If I don't know you, I'm not accepting it though. But you are welcome to add me. So yeah, those are good platforms you can find me on.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. It's Derrick, the black way to spell it. But more so, please follow the brand OTS Media Co. All social media platforms. I don't know why I started saying that. I've been saying that for a while, but it kind of hits different, man. I like I feel
The DEREK.
yeah, Derek is just that ain't it. That ain't it. Yeah. Yeah. Think of the Derricks that you know that are spelled with that.
I don't know no Derek.
Derek Fisher, Derek Jeter, like anyway, uh at OTS Media Co, all social media platforms. Check out the website otsmediaco.com. Check out all the other shows that we have under the brand. Please rate, reviews for all the shows. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on all platforms. Show us some love, and we'll show it right back. So we appreciate you guys for watching and or listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
Facts. Tacos are delicious. I'll holler at y'all.
Yes, sir.